Can you hear that? That sound of sobbing, wailing, outbursts of anger and anguish. Yep, that's the head office of Twitter and a whole lot of people on the left, because Twitter, the playground of the left, has been bought by someone who wants to turn the free speech platform into a platform of free speech. Let's check it out. So you've probably heard the news that Twitter has been bought by Elon Musk, the billionaire, for $44 billion. And Elon Musk explained in a TED Talk interview, he said this: "Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. Having tweets being mysteriously promoted and demoted with no insight into what's going on, having a black box algorithm promote some things and not other things, I think this can be quite dangerous. Is someone you don't like allowed to say something you don't like? If that is the case, then we have free speech." Well, we don't have free speech on Twitter, and that's why the left are so upset, because previously they controlled it, and so they would shut down accounts like Babylon Bee and PragerU. They would shut down conservative politicians, conservative organisations, even media that they didn't like. For example, they shut down the New York Post when the New York Post raised the issue about Hunter Biden's laptop, the son of the president, that had some interesting information leading into the last presidential election. And so the legacy media and Twitter shut down that whole debate. Since then, 2 years later, the New York Times has actually admitted that, well, yes, actually some of that claim is true. And while Twitter has been shutting down right-wing conservative commentators, they haven't been shutting down groups like the Taliban. I kid you not. Now, Musk has proposed changes to Twitter, including open source algorithms and transparent content moderation. And the Media Research Centre, Don Gaynor, he said this: "It's impossible to see this as anything other than good news. It's not like Elon Musk is one of us, a social conservative. He's not. He's more libertarian, but he has also been a big supporter of free speech. And Twitter is the proving ground for every major discussion and issue of the day. Any politician, any tax, any debate, it all gets aired out on Twitter. And because the left has been able to silence conservatives, they've had control. You can hear the scream from anywhere in the world right now as the left is freaking out about this," said Gaynor from Media Research Centre. And he's right. The left are panicking. And they've been panicking more than they have since 2016, when Trump surprisingly won the presidential election. In fact, one LGBT activist predicted that Twitter would descend into totally lawless hate, bigotry and misogyny. Well, that's as opposed to its current condition of total left-wing lawlessness and hate and bigotry. And they've also slammed the idea of Elon Musk, a billionaire, owning Twitter. And, too much power and harmful to democracy and free speech. And yet several liberal media organisations are also owned by billionaires. The Washington Post is owned by Amazon founder and billionaire Jeff Bezos. The Atlantic is owned by Steve Jobs' widow. And prior to the 2016 election, the Atlantic actually endorsed Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. So not exactly not biased, is it? Time Magazine. Time Magazine is owned by the billionaire CEO of Salesforce, Mark Beinhoff. And Time hated Trump. They made no excuse about that, but they do have a rosier picture of Biden. And the left-leaning Los Angeles Times also is owned by a billionaire. Have a listen to this clip from MSNBC, which is a very left-wing media in the US, as they absolutely panic over the fact that Twitter has been bought, that it's no longer under the control of the left, and gee, we may need checks and balances.
Okay, just take a breath and fall back for a second on that. But the point is, people who work with this stuff, they understand how important this is. I'm not telling you need a Twitter account. I'm not telling you have to jump in the ocean to study whether the ocean levels are rising. I'm just telling you this thing matters a ton. The world's richest person, who is very good at accumulating wealth and power, thinks this is worth spending tens of billions of dollars on because, frankly, he thinks it's that valuable and he thinks it may help him. Trump, by the way, today is claiming he won't even return to Twitter if the ban were lifted, but few take what Donald Trump says seriously on that score. So what is happening here? This is far bigger than Trump or Elon Musk. They are symptoms of the world we're living in, where technology has outpaced any of our ability to deal with it. That's true whether you're a parent trying to figure out what you can and can't let your kids do at various ages. It's true if you are a democracy like the United States that used to regulate media ownership and say Rupert Murdoch can't have too many local TV stations and newspapers in one town. They have laws for that are still in the books, but the Congress hasn't gotten around to limiting whether someone can own all of Twitter. And as we discussed in one of our special reports just last week, if you own all of Twitter or Facebook or what have you, you don't have to explain yourself. You don't even have to be transparent. You could secretly ban one party's candidate or all of its candidates, all of its nominees, or you could just secretly turn down the reach of their stuff and turn up the reach of something else, and the rest of us might not even find out about it till after the election. Elon Musk says this is all to help people because he is just a free speech, philosophically clear, open-minded helper, a world helper, if you will.
Yes, it's actually quite comical, isn't it? They suddenly want all these checks and balances now that they've lost control of something that they were totally dominating and it was very left-wing bias. And of course, you've still got all the other media outlets. You've still got Facebook. You've still got commentary on TikTok. Facebook, of course, is owned by a millionaire as well, Mark Zuckerberg. And of course, in New Zealand, we've got the government funding the media as well. So, the left are just in meltdown because they have lost their favourite playground. Now, one classic was that Business Insider called Musk purchasing Twitter a chilling new threat. But when Jeff Bezos purchased the Washington Post, as I said earlier on, they called it a fascinating cultural transition in America. So it's pretty selective how the commentators approach this. But this is what Elon Musk said. He said, "Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is a digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. I also want to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, and authenticating all humans." That's a great start. Twitter has tremendous potential. Yep. I look forward to working with the company and the community of users to unlock it. He's certainly right. I mean, verifying all humans would be a great start because there's too many people hiding behind their keyboards and just slamming other people. The left is totally threatened because Musk has taken over and wants the free speech platform to be free speech. Go figure. And that's why you can hear all the wailing. The last time I talked about this, I played a little clip from Babylon Bee, and let me show you again. It's a very funny clip from the head office of Twitter when they heard that Elon Musk was buying them out. Have a watch.
Terrible. I can't even. I have literally lost my ability to even.
Whoa, let's calm down. What was it? Some sort of tragic loss? Death in the family? No one misgendered you, did they?
No, it's even worse. Elon Musk wants to buy our company.
All right, another one. All right, just tell me, what is it about Elon buying Twitter that actually bothers you? And remember, this is a safe space. There's no judgment here.
If he buys our free speech platform, people will be able to have free speech on our platform.
Well, that's just stupid. All right, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's go a little bit deeper. What exactly bothers you about somebody having free speech on our free speech platform?
If we don't have the unilateral power to ban ideas we don't like, we'd actually have to discuss and defend our ideas based on their own merit.
And what's the problem with that?
It's just everyone who disagrees with me is a Nazi. So it's imperative that I change their mind with force and violence.
That is a very funny episode, isn't it? And you can watch the full episode on YouTube. Now, if Elon Musk has some money left over from buying Twitter, perhaps he could spend a little bit of money on a couple of other platforms, one being Disney and the other being Facebook. You would hear the left sobbing for weeks.